Hello,
Oh,
we are live now. Yes.
very
How are
nice.
you? How are you,
Oh,
Catherine? You okay?
really well. Really, really
Yeah.
well. Yeah, it's winter's come and gone, but you've got it now. So what about
Yes.
your weather? What's it like over in Old Blighty?
Oh, the weather hasn't been that bad apart from the usual
Okay.
cold we have. Yes. As long as we have, uh, as long as we have the visibility clear for driving and it's not icy, we are okay. We are
Oh, nice.
yes.
Yeah.
In
Uh,
fact, people here are praying for a snowy sort of Christmas. They
yeah.
like to wake up to snow.
Have you
Chris-
got your Christmas decorations up yet?
yeah, not yet, but I'm
Okay.
planning to probably around the 10th, 11th. But our
Yeah.
neighbors have already popped up their Christmas
Yeah.
lights, and
Yeah.
people are now, you know, offloading, or we see delivery trucks delivering Christmas trees. I have my Christmas tree I've been using for the last 6 Christmases, so I just get it out
Wow.
of the loft and sort of set it up and good to go. So but it's very surprising how many people are spending a lot of money on buying Christmas trees every year, and they put
Oh,
them.
I'm a bit of a
Yeah.
Grinch. I couldn't do that. I like a little Christmas tree, but I couldn't be replacing it every year. My God, no.
Yes, yeah. So welcome aboard. Joe is here already.
Oh, hi Joe. Hi.
Oh yes, Joe has already posted trimmings up already and posted cards. Hey Joe, yes, yeah. So
Yes.
you've
Yeah.
got the cards ready to go, Joe. Yes, very
Yeah.
very organized you are. And this is one season to sort of do things very early in advance because the mad rush kicks in, and
Yes.
somehow people don't get their cards, presents on time. So this would be the perfect time to send out those cards. So,
Yes. Yes.
mm, so I'm planning to put those in the post this week. I was waiting to see if there could be more of our friends who would like postcards. So then I can do that all at once instead of running back and forth. But
Yes.
let's
Yes.
see what
I look forward
happens.
to receiving it.
Yes, yes, it's on its way. We've got
Yeah.
Chantel in here.
Hi,
Chantel, hi.
Chantel.
Hi, thank you so much for joining us, Chantel. This is really sort of a quick weekend night live stream. It's been a very busy one this side, and I suppose it has for you, Catherine, because I haven't heard from you for a few days now. So this is my check-in point to see how you've been before we start.
Oh, very well, actually. I suppose the reason I'm a little excited is I spent a fair bit of time over the weekend updating a lot of my technology and really getting ready for my trip because I don't want to be, for example, I was given a pair of iPod Pros, so I don't have to have obvious equipment on me while I'm traveling next year. So
Mm.
I think that's why I'm happy. I always feel a bit happy when I'm organized, and I've cleared out my phone, updated the software. Oh, it's such a clean feeling. It
Mm.
gives. I remember when spring cleaning was, washing the curtains and washing the windows. Spring cleaning these days is updating all your technology.
Yes, yes. Yeah. But this is the right time to do all of that because as
Mm.
we move into the deeper into this month, things are going to start getting quite busy, fast paced.
Yes.
Everybody is fully booked, so this would be the perfect time to get on those of to order those little things we need for Christmas. uh,
Yeah, yeah.
if you have kids and nephews, nieces, I suppose this is the right time to start getting those little presents to go under the Christmas tree. And
Mm.
some people have already got these in, people who are highly organized.
Well, I'm picking
Oh,
up my merch this week, the merchandise that I've got a variety of bags with different images and a couple of other items. But I'm excited. I pick up my. It's not. I haven't got a big order because I'm just testing it. But I'm pretty
Mm.
excited because I'm in the business now. I got a merch range.
Okay. You are. You are indeed. I was speaking to a friend of mine yesterday, and I was asking, how do you get round buying everybody a present on Christmas? Because they've got quite a big family. And so she says that what they do in her family is last Christmas, so they received so many gifts, and some of those were not opened, or there are some gifts they sent across that were not to their liking, like slippers, sandals, duvet covers, and teddy bears. And what they do is they literally just repackage those and send them off again. I say, what a clever way.
Regifting. Well,
Yeah.
my children
They,
have
yeah.
my children said to me, Mum, how much will you be spending on gifts this year? And I said, oh, X amount. And so it was then said to me, okay, don't give us any presents. Put it in the
Mm,
bank towards your trip. And I went, and they said, that's our present to you. And
yes.
I said, oh, okay. I was still wanting a present. They said, no, the money is the present. I'm such a scammer. They said, Mum, we know what you're doing here. It's not going to
Yeah.
work.
Yeah. So
But
I think,
I like the family banter and the family get-togethers at this time of year. That's what's really lovely, I think.
well, that's what Christmas is there for, isn't it?
Yeah,
Family
yeah,
getting together.
yeah.
Now, I remember back in the days when we were all still young kids growing up in our family. I come from an extended family of 8. And so, but we had other uncles and aunties, and we used to celebrate Christmas as a unit. So they would all come. And so the 23rd, 24th, we were all packed, in the house playing Christmas games, and uh, we have what they used to call a pre-drink for Christmas, and so it
Oh,
used to be really good. But of course, days have changed. There's a lot of traveling. Most of us have traveled abroad, and but others have got married. They've got children. Their families have also started. So Christmas is not like it used to be back in the days. As we grow up,
no,
it
no.
gets more lonely. Christmas becomes more lonely.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
but we are lucky that we can sit here and have these conversations and catch up with our friends in the comments here. And, so this is our way of, you know, getting company that we so badly crave these days, isn't it?
Look, it means
Yeah.
a lot to me. I would have to say, and I'm not someone who sucks up to people. It's not really in my nature, but I like, I like to be nice and kind, but with sincerity. So I say this with all sincerity. One of the loveliest, absolutely most wonderful things that's happened for me this year and really uplifted my life has been meeting you, getting to know you, and building this relationship of trust between us. And then the way you invited me into your community through these lives, it's really made a huge difference in my life. I feel excited. If it hadn't have been for what we've sort of created, and it's still in its embryonic stages, I wouldn't have
Mm.
even gone out to the Royal Tour. I would have just sat at home and sucked eggs. So the spin-off of all of that is just so marvelous. It's so
Mm. Mm.
marvelous, so wonderful.
I know what you're saying, yeah. And got Chantel in here. Chantel says she has to buy the wrapping paper and watch the grandchildren rip them open on Christmas Day. It is great to see how excited they get. Oh, what have you got? Hey, I got
Oh,
this.
yes.
What have you got? Yay! Yeah, Christmas Day. And the joy of seeing them wake up very early in the morning to go and open them. And yeah, so I suppose it's one day in a year that unites everybody, whether, Protestants, Muslims, Christians.
Yes,
It's a day
yes,
that is hugely felt across the globe.
yes.
Okay.
I think those three Abrahamic religions, this is a time when there is something about Christmas that brings us all together. It's those three big religions, you know.
Mm,
It's really
mm.
quite something when you think about it.
It is indeed. Right, so we've got, what have we got in the royal news world, Catherine? We've got Catherine, Princess of Wales, with her very heartfelt message recently going out to those suffering addiction. I thought that was a very, very timely message. Very timely. Because this time of the year is when we get to hear all of those sad
Mm.
stories. Someone has taken their life, someone has done this, or this is going on. And of course, these times of the year, Christmas, very close. You've also got families that are remembering their relatives who lost their lives due to addiction. So it was a very timely message from Catherine, and how she called upon us not to judge, but to show love and compassion to those suffering addiction. I thought that was the icing on the message, because 9 times out of 10, there is a lot of judging on our part, towards people who are suffering addiction. So, such a great cause that Catherine lined up behind, and that message was really, really appreciated by all charities, not just here in the UK, but across the world, that are sort of behind support for the those suffering addiction. Did you read into that message? Have you? Is it
I
trending
did.
in Australia?
Uh, well, I was interested. Sky News covered it, and they
Mm.
said one of them there said much the same as yourself, and yeah, the royal channels. There is one um, royal commentator they interview. I can't think of her name. She's a beautiful black woman. I think she might even be British. I'm not sure, but they bring her on from time to time. And it was absent. I noticed they covered quite a few things, but it was actually absent in her report. I think it was just an oversight. So
Mm.
yeah, it's had coverage. I thought it was an odd message.
Mm.
Be, I'll tell you the reason, and it's not only, it's partly because of my own experience. It would be silly to deny otherwise.
Mm.
But I found it, um, there was a bit of cognitive dissonance for me because um, they, and I'm putting something up later in the day, and it's about how they've got, they've literally banned Harry and Meghan from joining them for Christmas. And the
Mm.
reason being is because he's going to bring too much stress into an environment where two people, senior royals, really senior royals, the king and
Mm.
the future queen, are suffering cancer. And Catherine hasn't, I don't know if she, I don't think she has passed her 3 month mark yet since
Mm.
discontinuing. So I see the model of care with drug addiction has changed in the last couple of decades from criminalizing the addicts to they there's the studies that suggest, and I don't dispute them. I have questions, but I don't dispute the basic tenet of those studies that it's a mental disorder because um, Bobby Kennedy, who's just been elected, nominated the Secretary for Health in under the Trump administration, he he was a drug addict, serious hardcore drug addict for over 16 years, and he said he was never ever going to drink because the Irish, there is real alcoholism issue in the Irish population, and it's problematic even to this day. So he said, and they're Irish, the Kennedys, I'm never going to drink because, but one day he's out and about and he was a young adolescent and he was offered methamphetamine or cocaine. I think it might have been meth, and he tried it, and that was it. And then he got back. He'd been away all night, and his mother knew something was up because he hadn't come home. And on his way home, some of his mates were out in the field or something, and they offered him some more because now he's worried about how he's going to go home and face his mother. But then he injected heroin, and that was it. For 16 years, he was a drug addict. Now he goes to AA every day. He never misses it. And so you've got so many stakeholders in this issue, and I felt that her message, to her credit, would have hit the mark for all the charities that of which she's a patron. I think because I've got something here in relation to that, but the target is this week, the Addiction Awareness Week. So she, as a patron, was obliging the charities, which is fair enough, but there was such a mixed reaction to her, even from her fan base, that I looked at it a second time because I'll be honest with you, I didn't pay it a lot of attention. I thought, oh yeah, but there were so many people who said, no way, she said, addiction is not a choice, it's a mental health condition that can affect any of us. And it actually is, but it's a chicken and the egg argument. Which came first, the mental illness or the addiction, then the mental illness? So that's the question that it raises. And the other thing she said was they cannot do it alone. Yes. Now this is to mental health professionals in emergency wards, etc. They can't do it alone. It's up to each of us, every one of us, to change the way we think about and consider the many people coping with addiction because recovery is possible. Yes, it is. So when they changed that model a couple of decades ago, it was aimed at the healthcare community that they had to be more open to receiving drug addicts into their emergency services, because in the emergency services, it was often a choice between someone who was really ill or a drug addict. So they would be turned away. So I've got mixed feelings about it. Being kind and all the rest of it. Yes. But now let's get down to the real nuts and bolts. Some people are asking, was she sending a message to Harry?
Okay,
Was
yes, yeah.
she imploring Harry to clean up his act? Because you've got this whole discussion going on that was kicked off by Richard Eden saying he wants to come back. He's going to come back into the fold. A royal courtier has told me that, they're paving the way. The king wants him back quickly. And the reason being because, it's not going to happen under King William and Queen Catherine, because their walls they've got the fort up. Their boundaries are hardcore. There is no way in. So I wondered, because they can't let him in while he's like this. I'm talking about the Wales, not the king. They can't accept him in while he is this messy because he's dangerous. He's a danger to himself and he's a danger to his loved ones, particularly those suffering from cancer. So it was so layered, it was such a layered message. And I even asked myself, not because she's not capable, but because they are dealing with this on a very personal front. Should she even be a patron of these charities? It raised that question for me. And not because she's not capable, but I wondered if maybe it was a burden. I'm just speaking really honestly, because I was so amazed at so many the pushback, and I'm not talking about trolls. I'm not talking
Mm,
about trolls. I'm talking about people who are in the Catherine camp, you know. So, and I'm there, but I'm not pushing back that hard because it's a really complicated issue, and that's why I had to bring up Bobby Kennedy because he said, because we're Irish, he said, and I never drank. He said, even as a drug addict, I never drank. My son did. My son
mm,
started on alcohol and marijuana, and then he went into the really hardcore stuff. And that's the problem with addiction. That dopamine hit wears off after a while, and then they have
mm,
to find something more hardcore. They'd have to go for a bigger hit. And
mm,
this is where, and then that's when they become a risk, not high risk, not only to themselves, but to their loved ones. So
mm,
they're my thoughts on it. I was going to put up a video about it, but if there's anything in here, I might use it as a grab actually, because I don't wish to undermine what Catherine's saying at all, you know, because they're suffering it. They are in the battle.
mm,
Even if it's not directly, they made a really hard decision. They put the gates up, and they threw away the key for now. So was she saying to Harry, you know, because boundaries are part of safeguards for the family.
mm,
They are
mm,
legitimate safeguards. So was she saying to Harry, I would like you, at least me, I would like you to consider cleaning up if you want to come
mm,
back. You know what the royals are like. They speak through coded language. They're, you know, signias. Everything is a sign. Everything is a signal. And I did wonder that, and it wouldn't surprise me because she doesn't strike me as an unforgiving person.
mm. Royals send out very subtle messages. They do.
Yes,
And so this could have been so because they behind the scenes probably are very much aware of what could be going on in Harry's
yes,
life. Okay, so he's been missing in action for some good time now, in the name of professional separation. He's doing this here, doing projects here, but he's not been really seen properly by his own family. So there could be, it could be that probably they know what is going on behind the scenes. Is he somewhere in rehab, or what's going on? So this message could highly have been a message
yes,
of sympathy delivered through the channel of addiction. And if so, then what better way to deliver that message than in the way that Catherine did it, you know?
yes, yeah, and I mean, she's addressed all the stakeholders, really. I mean, that's one of the problems when you're a patron. You can't be political, you can't be controversial. So she's satisfied the stakeholders, the charities. She's satisfying um, the addicts and the professional care. But I think families, though, that have dealt with violent drug addicts have been a threat, who've had to kick them out literally,
Mm,
and not have them back until they're literally even halfway through rehab or something. I
mm,
think that's where a lot of the pushback came from, but also from people who do have questions over this model, because a lot of it is language too, Francis. Let's be honest about it. You can't change an addict's behavior by changing language.
no, you can't. You really can't.
Mm,
But talking about, because you touched this briefly about the campaigns to get Harry back in, and his
yes,
father keeping that window open. I still can't see that, and I'm highly thinking that again this is some sort of media, the PR from the side of the Sussexes to try and paint that picture of a Harry who is very much still wanted in the family, and they are fighting so hard to get him back because they are struggling. No, don't think that is the case. And the king, to be fair, is such a very busy man now. He's got a lot of things to deal with. There are so many issues going on in the country at the minute. Um, the prime minister, we have those petitions going, and so Harry would be the last person, the very last person on his mind. But also, I don't think at this point in time the king would like to have Harry back with all his potential to clash with William. They don't want that now. The royal family have moved past that. So there isn't any way he is going to let these two boys come and live under the same castle near each other. Because anytime they clash again, I think that will be the royal family finished. So I don't want people to be there and think, oh, right, the royal family behind the scenes is working so hard to try and get Harry back. The king is no. And I know that these PR from the Sussex camp who are pushing these messages through could also be wanting again to sort of cause more strain to King Charles's regime and put so much pressure under him, and because they know
Yeah.
people are looking at him as somebody who has been weak with dealing with these issues, the more they say, oh, he's fighting behind the scenes to bring Harry back, the more they are tainting his image. But I don't think personally that there is anything or any arrangements behind the scenes that are going on aimed at bringing Harry back. Not a chance. Not a chance. And so we know, obviously, that Meghan Markle issued that statement. Stedman, thank you so much for that super sticker. Thank you.
Oh, she's amazing.
Yeah, she's here. She's amazing. She's caught this one again, Stedman. Nice to see
I
you
know.
joining
How
the A
gorgeous.
team.
Yeah.
Yes, how
Yeah.
gorgeous you are. Thank you so much. And the A team is already here. So
Yeah.
great that we are enjoying the company we have, all of you sitting here with us, on this wonderful Sunday evening. I think it's very early morning at yours, Catherine. But we love to see you all here. And these super stickers are making such a big difference. Thank you, Stedman. So,
Have you seen Aspie's comment, Francis? Aspie
yeah.
says, I feel the palace and the king are helping Harry behind the scenes to bring him back to the UK, but not as a working royal. The royal reporters will report what the palace wants. What's your response to that?
I'm trying to pull out Aspie's comment, but I can't.
Yeah,
Is it
it's just a
here?
few back. It's about one, two,
Okay.
three, four, five. It's about 6 comments back from there you go,
Yeah,
you've got it. Yeah.
yes, yeah.
So
I feel
how
Alice.
would you respond to Aspie's comment? Because she said something similar on one of my videos.
Yeah,
I'd like to
yes.
hear what you
Yeah,
think.
as there are so many elements of truth in this comment, Aspi here, and someone could easily be tempted to think so. But the problem with Harry is that he can't be trusted whether he's going to be working or non-working royal. Can't be trusted at all to come closer to the palace or to be in any associations with people who are closer to palace, just in case he gets that info, uses that material to push their PR campaigns and books and projects coming up in Netflix. It's a very tricky one. Whether it is not going to be serving or serving, the best thing to be is to keep that arm's length away from bringing him in. And as long as he still got that pipeline with Meghan Markle, that sort of touch with Meghan Markle, she can use him wherever he is to get what she wants. Okay, so if they are doing it, it's not a good idea. But I really, really doubt that is the case. because if it was, I think we could have seen Harry more frequent here in the UK, and we could see a Harry who is now becoming a bit relaxed with these court cases. We could see some bit of change in Harry if he knew there was something that was going on behind the scenes to try and get him back. But surely he's shown no signs of all of that. He is still very much pursuing those court cases, charge against the UK government for police security. Nothing has changed with regards to his projects, the books, the paperback versions. He's still acting in ways that are not respectful of his, the royal family here, somebody could say. So I don't think there is something working out in that sort of sense.
So, Francis,
Mm,
what did you think then of? Because I've got mixed feelings, so I'm not landing one way or the other because they've banned them from Christmas. So you've got one message saying, oh, they're doing everything to bring him back. Courtiers are telling us this, and on the other hand, he's been banned. He has not been invited for Christmas for the obvious reasons. There's no stress. They don't want any fuss. They don't want muss. They just want to have their little sherry, maybe watch a bit of the carols on TV, like we do, right? We don't want hassle on Christmas, especially
mm,
with a drug addict. I've been there,
mm,
done that. It's awful. They don't want this. So you've got
mm.
this message, you've got that message. So what do you think? I mean, that was a pretty stunning statement that Richard Eden made, saying that a courtier has told him this, but also his article went on to say, to point out some missteps that Sophie had made over the years. I thought it was really sleazy
It's very
because it was
easy. Yeah,
undermining what they're doing now. It was,
it was.
there's nothing worse than you're with your lover and you had a tiff about a year ago about something, and you're out having champagne and you're enjoying. You come home and then you think it's all good, and then the other party says, "Oh, but remember last year when you did this?" That's what
Mm,
Richard Eden did. He just
yes.
brought all of this stuff back that
Mm.
no one wanted to hear it.
Some of
Why?
these people, exactly. But Catherine, what you should know as well is, me as a person who has worked closer with the
Yeah,
royals,
that's why
is
we
that
want to hear what you're saying.
yeah. You've got some of these people who used to be very close to the royal family. They used to be invited to the parties and given audience and given opportunities to get to places that other people can't get to within the royal household. And as time goes on, the royal family then is having what they call a sieving process, where they start looking at people's activities,
Yes.
and then if they sort of find out that some of these people have got some hidden agendas, or they are involved in activities that are not glorifying, or they are not um, very shady or activities somewhere, the royal family will start to distance themselves, and they won't then be giving these people invitations to garden parties to. And what they do as payback is to try and look for a way of painting, starting to paint or blackmail, or come up with very controversial stories about the royal family, to try and come across as, okay, you denied us this, we are going to let this through. We're going to start, we're going to say things that are not going to be really sounding nice to you. So these are the people we hear come up and give these stories out of the blue, and they, one minute they were in support of the royal household, another minute they are appearing to be, again, not in support. They are supporting Harry. So these are people who, what is the right word? They are people who, who fall out. That's the right word. There are people
I
who fall
understand.
out
Yeah.
with the royal family, and sometimes it has much to do with the royal family finding out that these parties cannot be trusted anymore. And so, as a
I
way of,
thought it was
yeah,
shocking. I thought
very,
what he
very,
said,
yes,
look,
absolutely. But
just say this over here about Harry and the King, but why bring Sophie into it? I just thought I actually don't mind Richard Eden and
Sophie,
Sam. Yeah, well, Sam says here, and I feel a bit the same. I've got mixed feelings. I'm not keen on Richard Eden. Sam R. He seems like a nice chap. Yeah, he does. He actually, that's why I do pay him some attention. Um, uh, but he seems like a nice chap, particularly when he's called a royal expert. He's a journalist and a commentator. But Dan Wooden worked at the Mail, and he had on a royal YouTuber, and they were chatting, and she just blanketly did not agree, and Dan sort of put the kibosh on it because I feel like the public is being gaslit here. But who's doing the gaslighting? I think it's the media. I think it's
it's
the
the
media
media
who are stirring the pot, and they've got another agenda
because they
because
want to have their
this all
stories, isn't it?
yeah, because we're all going like this. But his comment, the woman he had on, no, no, no. But Dan said something, and I don't mind Dan. I thought he got a real raw deal,
Hmm.
when he was cancelled, etc. But that's by the by. But I don't mind Dan, and he makes some crazy statements himself, but
Hmm.
still, he broke Megxit. He knew about that, and that's why they went crazy and tried to get in first. But
Hmm.
he said, no, he said, I don't think Richard Eden would have said this unless there was something in it. And it's what Dan said that pulled me up. I
Hmm.
thought,
Hmm.
oh, okay. So what's really going on? You've got this story saying, oh, they're doing everything they can to bring him back. Then the Christmas story, no, they're banned. They're not invited to Christmas.
They're
So
not exactly. Yeah, but you'd have to know this, Catherine. Like I said, we have all
yeah,
of these royal experts, commentators who are coming up. Some of these have fallen out with the royal family for certain reasons. And so, as a result of that, they then want to show that, okay, we are not getting those invitations anymore. Then let's start, pinching you somehow. It's more like that lady who, out of
yeah,
the blue says that uh, Prince William and his statement, the statement William made in, was it in South Africa where he went last time, and he was asked and he said he's going to do things differently.
yes.
Then this lady out of the blue makes remarks and says Harry needs to put William where he belongs. So you can see that we
Tina
have,
Brown, yeah.
yeah. So these royal experts and commentators also have moments where they lose it. They lose it.
Oh, sorry,
But
Francis. I'm just
yeah,
giggling at Sam's comment.
no,
Yeah, no, you're right.
so-
It's just, but they
yeah,
destroy their own credibility.
they do, and
This is
Sam
what
and
I
Joe
don't
here
understand.
Sam and Joe make a good point here. They say, right, Harry is the king's son. Yes, he is very much. And I think how he has been handled throughout this scenario of his by the king, uh, lightly as we have seen, with no major push that, and rebuking of a sort,
He's not
is
said
because
anything.
yes, he is his son. He's aware of how his son can become when he's under, stress, when he's under mental health issues and all of that. So he's very careful not to do anything that is going to make his life very difficult out there. So, and many people could say they are okay with how he's been handling him as long as he keeps him away from here and let him stay there and he supports him from there. That's what we have pretty much seen King Charles do. And Harry and Meghan wouldn't actually be getting all these projects they are getting in the United States and getting to these places had it not been with the support they are still receiving from the royal family. Behind the scenes, I guarantee you, there should be some support these two are receiving as members who are still very much, in line. Harry is still in line, to the throne. So surely he has some immunity, and much of that would be coming from here. Okay. All this visa situation and the visa papers and filling out forms wrongly and lying on those forms and mentioning of drugs in his books, and yet he goes to United States and there is a bit of, okay, we keep his records private, nobody should release whatever findings were done, is all to do is also because Harry is still the son of the king, I suppose, and they are giving him that respect. They don't want to humiliate the royal family. So in that sense, we can say that Harry's operations and wherever he's going is still very much at the mercy of the royal family. Okay. So the king is not going to, openly criticize him or rebuke him or do anything. And because of the king being quiet in that sense, all of these journalists and commentators are going to use that silence of the king to say whatever they want, because they know there is not, the king won't retaliate, they won't say anything back. So they are going to push this material. And part of it is to sell in the papers because people like to read controversial stories.
Yeah, including us, right?
Yeah. So they are paying them money to say those controversial lines, stories, and some of those experts are falling out with the royals somehow. They are not getting the ticket to come and attend garden parties. So, but the real truth is that, if there was anything going on behind the scenes, okay, we would see a changed Harry. We would see a Harry who is very often coming back here. We would see a Harry who has been invited to the Christmas party with the rest of the royals here. We could see much more than what is there.
Yes.
And what is there right now? Nothing. No invitation, not even Prince William reaching out. Those two allegedly have non-spoken. They still meet at the funeral and they don't speak. At their uncle's funeral they did. And that 40th birthday message they sent out, of course, was a milestone birthday. So it was meant to be going out. Many people took that for, the royal family is not welcoming him back. It isn't. It isn't. It is all to do with the trust. That trust was broken. It can never be reinstated. Whether he's going to be as a working or non-working royal, they can't trust him to be anywhere near to where he can get his eyes on something, his hands on something. And for as long as he still has that union with Meghan Markle, okay, he has to forget even little elements of him getting the opportunity to come and even stay in the palaces. He has to apply for permission if he's going to come to the palace. He has to do that in plenty of time. Things have since changed, allegedly. So, my dear friends, in the comments, for me personally, I think whatever we are reading in the papers about people saying, oh, the king is behind the scenes trying to get him back, I don't believe in that. He is the king's son, yes. King Charles loves him, yes, but he is going to be supporting him. Yeah. King Charles still loves his son like he loves Prince Harry William. He loves his boys. He thinks about him probably every day. He could be, sending little messages to those children, maybe Christmas messages. But the one thing I am sure that is there, if it is that his father will be supporting him from where he is, but not here. Not a chance.
Yeah, I actually, I'm inclined to agree with you. I just feel the media is gaslighting the public on this issue, and it depends where you sit. Sam Sam R said, and she doesn't like Dan Wootton, by the way. She thinks he's a gutter rat. I think there's some truth in that. Yes. Um, she says, could the courtier be a spy for Harry and Meghan? I'm confused by that report. And she goes on
Hmm.
to say, oh yeah, that news story a while ago. I think that's in relation to the Althorp invitation. But I just feel you can't have one story out there saying one thing and then using another senior up and coming royal, because they're doing a marvelous job. The Sophie and Edward, they're doing a fantastic job, and they look beautiful. They look well, Catherine's in a realm of her own. I think that we've lost you, Francis. Oh no, no. I see what you've done, and but Sophie's gorgeous. She looks beautiful, carries herself with grace and poise. But to use that to hoist your story up even higher, I felt was a really low act on Richard Eden's part. But you can't have one story going out there saying, "Oh yes, the king's bringing him back. The king's bringing him back," and then another story over here saying, "No, the king and William." I can't see the king wanting Harry there after the way he's spoken about his wife.
No chance.
She's been unwell, recovering since they've returned from Australia. It really took it out of them. The king looks fabulous. He looks so well,
He looks so
but
well. He doesn't want
yeah,
that stress
yeah,
anymore. And we read last time, obviously, that if there is one person who is trying to protect their husband away from a son who is bound to bring that stress back, it is
yes.
Camilla. That Camilla is playing a very, very big part in keeping that distance there, because she knows that Harry is not good for him in this time he is in. Okay. And I thought there was so many elements of truth in that story, because Camilla herself was targeted in Harry's projects.
Mm.
Okay. So if Harry comes back here and get that closer to his father, where is Camilla going to end up? There's going to be clashing in that palace, and this is the queen. And people forget that Camilla has also a certain degree of powers in that palace. She's also a queen. She might be a queen consort, but when she's there, she can make decisions. Many people forget and think that, okay, so it's King Charles and then William. No, it's King Charles, then Camilla. Then it comes down to William. Okay, so if Camilla here in the middle is not happy with something, she is going to be very firm, and I don't think they can bypass her to do anything. So you can't tell me a son who openly blamed or alleged things about, the king's wife can't just be let in back like that, and Camilla is happy for him to come like that without any. you know. So to avoid this backlash and all of these issues arising in the royal family, which it has already been going through some really challenging times, the best thing they have done is to keep him away, as both of them are as much as they can. Okay. So I'm not even buying into these stories. And some of these stories, by the way, are fueled by the Sussex camp. That camp is massive. They have their own PR
Mm,
machine, which is
mm.
working 24 hours. This is what
Well,
people forget.
Jo
Yes.
says here, she says it was probably an ex-courtier. You know what? I think she's hit the nail on the head because you can still do what Richard did by saying a courtier told me this. You don't have to say whether it's a courtier behind the palace or not. That makes a lot of sense, Joe. I think you're right. I
Mm-hmm.
think you're right. What a I tell you, I mean, I've always thought Richard Eden was a pretty decent guy, but boy, oh boy, that article, shoo, I just think
Mm.
I think he's damaged himself with that.
I scanned through these articles and I quickly picked them up as okay, this is one of those again. Okay. So as a royalist and as a person who has, worked in the royal household before, I know these standard operating principles, and I know how decisions are reached, in the royal
Yes,
family. Now, when you look at most of all the senior royals, including Sophie, William, all of these, they are not in touch with Harry. And so you cannot have half of nearly three quarters of people in the senior royalship say no to Harry, Meghan, and then you have just the king, for example, says let him come. No chance, no chance. They listen to each other. They reached a consensus, but also in Parliament, there's a lot going on with Prince Harry, whether they should take these titles off. So there's a lot going on. So it's not as easy as the king saying, "Okay, my son, come back in." The king has to act in the interest of the country, the nation first before father. Okay, so no chance. The trust has since really been gone long time ago. Um, but
well, the
also,
thing is, Harry can't help himself. He can't help reminding people who he is because after he'd made that mad dash to visit his father when the diagnosis was made public, he then went back and it was an Invictus interview, and the reporter asked him about his father, and he said, "Oh, he didn't say before the interview, please don't ask any questions about my father because that's what you do. You lay down the ground rules first."
mm,
No, he allowed the question to proceed. He said, "Oh, no, that's not." And he said it like really, like the big man, puffing himself up like a frog. And he said, "Oh, no, that's not something I can discuss. I can't discuss my father here. But that will always remain. That will always remain. He brings the halo out, always remain between me and my father." Like he should have said before the interview, please do not ask me any questions. If you ask me a question about my father, I'll shut the interview down. That's what he should
mm,
have done.
exactly, exactly. And we read this story back. Is it last year? No, I think around May time, June time. Nobody is apparently allowed to even mention the name Meghan and Harry in the royal household. That's how bad things are.
I
Eh,
remember that story.
yes,
I don't doubt it either. I
yeah.
don't
The
doubt it.
name
She was
Harry and
such a
Meghan.
piece of work. She caused
Yeah,
so
the
much
name.
trouble.
Absolutely, the name Harry and Meghan became a taboo. This is what the whatever that column writer said. It's a taboo. Nobody is allowed to even say, Meghan, Harry, call or talk about them when in the royal household. So that is very telling of the situation that is there. So someone can't convince us that the king is working behind the scenes to bring him back. We had another story again, somewhere around July, August time, and this story was telling us there is Operation Get Prince Harry back in. He's reaching out
Yes.
to his friends and associates and try to get him back in. So all of that, those stories rubbish stories. What are his friends going to do about it? How are they going to convince the royals? Oh, bring him back, bring him back. If Harry himself couldn't, somebody who had the direct line to his father, and now they are having to tell us that he's going through his friends here in the UK to try and plead. Doesn't that tell you the severity of issues that are there? Doesn't it tell you how difficult things have become? And isn't that telling us that really everybody can come up with anything nowadays? You know,
Well, it certainly
just
appears that
hear
way.
the point.
I mean,
Yeah.
people who've got established reputations to protect and jobs that, coming out with nonsense, but they've lost a lot. Harry in particular, Meghan, I don't think she really cares, but Harry feels it because some of his friends who watched the trailer, they just laughed. They thought it was so
Mm,
bad. Then they laughed and
mm.
laughed, and they said they couldn't believe that, Harry would put his name to something like that. They just thought it was so trashy, so bad. So he's lost
Exactly.
a lot, Harry, and he would be feeling it. I don't doubt in his quiet moments when he's not puffing himself up before his acolytes, his
Yeah.
servants. Um,
Oh, look at
I don't
Chantel.
doubt. Yeah.
Chantel there says, remember to subscribe to Catherine and hit the like button, everyone.
Oh,
Yes. Thank
oh,
you, Chantel, for that
I'll put
shout
some
out.
more.
Yes, thank you.
Thank
Hit the
you.
like button, guys. Let us push the this live stream
Thank you,
to.
sweetie darling.
Yes, yeah. We are how many on here so far? We are 12. Please hit that like button. Let us push those likes up front so we get our video into the algorithms of YouTube. And Chantel there, thank you. Please check if you're still
Tommy
subscribed to the
Jerry.
channel. Yes, and Catherine, please show support. Let's get her channel up there as well.
Thank you
But
very much.
thank you, dear friends. You're so wonderful. And Sam said that I haven't been keeping up. Chantel, my
I,
dad, that I could get him to switch. I think are they talking about the
the
sports
polo.
thing, the polo thing? That polo is disastrous. I don't
Yeah.
think it's going to pick up the numbers they wanted. It was poorly done. It wasn't professionally recorded, apparently. We have Harry and Meghan putting themselves up as executive directors. They don't even know what executive director means. An executive director is somebody who
They don't even know what it means. Throw the dictionary at them.
they don't even know
That's
what an
funny.
executive director of a program means. Okay? So that's very telling of things that are just in their dream. They're just doing these things all of a sudden becoming experts of things from nowhere. Executive director, how nice it would have been for them to stay out of this and just be outside in the on the sidelines and just watch and leave people who are well knowledgeable, who can take on projects, accomplish this. Okay, but they've already put on that Meghan and Harry coating on it, which is going to deter that project from flying. Eh?
Well, I just love you're just the master of the understatement. They don't even know what it means because it's such a weighted insult. It's such it really is an insult. If that, I mean, and the way they've
Oh,
got
yeah,
producer by Harry and Meghan,
Meghan.
the Duke and Duchess of Sussex.
You can
You know,
Duchess of Sussex. It's
we're the
bold
real
up
stars.
there.
Yeah, oh,
Bold.
it's
That is
madness.
it's madness going on here. And look, they are not allowed to use those titles in any way, shape, or form for those projects that are monetized because that title really is not a title to make money. When you look at the Netflix project they are putting up, they got paid how much money? 1 million US dollars as part of producing 5 or 10 episodes. So they did Harry and Meghan, and now we see this one coming. the polo thing. This is all part of the other money they got, the initial project that they got given. So this executive director thing, and then the Duke and Duchess of Sussex, that is using a royal title on a project which is monetized. That is really wrong on many levels. I wonder if somebody in the royal household is looking at this and really calling them to get that off those screens. Duke and Duchess of Sussex, executive director. How many times have we seen royals being involved in executive directing? This is so bad on many levels.
Oh, it's just posturing. It's just posturing, you know. It's so stupid. People,
oh my God.
People see that and they just laugh. You know, they become figures of mockery.
And apparently, this whole polo thing was Meghan Markle's idea.
Of course.
It was directed by her, and somebody was telling us that down the lines we are going to see Meghan Markle featured so many times, handing over trophies and patting people, hugging people, and they are passing on trophies to her, and she's handing them over. And apparently, Harry's gonna be standing there and looking like he always looks, like a handbag man. Okay, this is really, really bad.
It is pretty bad. I felt like the first time I saw it, I just felt the sleaze. It just drips sleaze. And I just felt like I needed a shower. It was just, ugh. To me, it's a reality show.
It is indeed. Ugh. Now, Mariam Noriega, hi. Thank you so much for joining us. And Mariam asks a question, Catherine, is it true that Harry and Meghan are separating? We said that it is only going to be a matter of time. Okay, it will be a matter of time. Whatever is going on behind the scenes will soon come to our eyes, and we will see what's going on. And signs are there. I would say signs are there, because we had a Harry back in the days who could not even spend 12 hours away from his family. Came back here, was it for the coronation ceremony of the king? And what happened? Within 16 hours, he had flown back. I'm going back to my family. I'm going back to my family. You know, these days we see no sense of urgency, okay, of him going back to what he used to say, I can't stay, you know, this number of days away from my family. So he enjoys and he feels more happy to be in Australia by himself. He's more happy to have this professional separation there, which could never have imagined. You know, you remember when he was telling us, so my wife, I'm gonna stand by her through thick and thin. People are calling her this and this. I will be there for her to hold her hand. So where is he now? Why are they telling us now, okay, so there's a professional separation, so they're going to be going both, you know, dividing their brands. When they set out, Netflix, Harry and Meghan, everything Harry and Meghan, okay? So why now? So obviously there should be something behind the scenes. And this will come to play very, very soon. It won't be very long. Okay. And part of why I also think this is the case is because we also see Meghan Markle is somebody who knows she thrives around her husband. She can't let him go. She holds him and clashes onto him like super glue. But for them to come to that decision, that professional separation, go your way, I go my way, surely is so telling of a situation, some sort of situation that is there. Whether Harry is coming to a realization that, you know, this is not what I thought I was going to get myself into. Okay. And we have also had other stories coming up that while Meghan Markle was dating Prince Harry, there was somebody there. She was living in someone's house at that time, and it was the same time she was seeing Harry, going on dates with Harry. You know, so if Prince Harry got to know all of these things, surely he should be starting to change his mind about how he has been looking at his wife. So it is going to be time that we will tell. We are keeping our eyes open. Usually, this is how things start. From professional separation,
Yes.
things will turn into personal separation.
You're so right. I mean, friends and family members who've gone through a breakdown, a relational breakdown, and you see all the signs, and then you see the movement. They start to go to different events separately, individually. He doesn't need his wife to attend a function, or she goes to a work function that with the girls and has drinks late after work. Behavior that was not evident previously. You see it, and then the next minute, they'll go on separate holidays, and I mean, I'm surprised. I'll be frank.
Yeah, yeah,
I'm a bit
because,
surprised by it
yeah,
because,
absolutely.
yeah,
So she
because
goes,
she will
hmm,
never, ever willingly let him go. But he
no,
escaped.
no, she would never. Even looking at somebody, another woman hugging him, you would see how her eyes roll like that. You sort of see how her face changes and she just can't wait and wait for that person hugging to go away. And you would see her squeeze herself, even taking a photograph with Prince Harry and there are other people around. She would like to be the one next to Harry. So going from that in 100 miles an hour to that, okay, it's
I'm
very telling.
surprised.
It's very telling of what could be
Yeah,
going on
yeah.
there. Okay.
It is. It's a big. I believe that they are living separately, and I think where the sign, like it was pretty bad when they were in Nigeria and Colombia. He just looked so miserable, and then he was on a separate table, and they were honouring her. He looked miserable. They were giving her the honor and the fealty, but he's the prince and he's sitting on a separate table with his security. It was so disgusting. Who treats their husband like that in public for everyone to see? And she
Exactly.
wonders why he wants to get out of there. who treats
Exactly.
who treats their husband like that in public? It was so despicable. Oh God, I mean, people have tips and they have their differences, and every now and again, even family, you go, uh-oh, you could see a little bit of a fight flaring up, but this was different. This was absolute contempt and public humiliation, total narcissistic abuse.
Exactly. Exactly. And this is the thing. Harry is held in there. He's in a very difficult situation because if he's been probably he's he's been using this moment to probably reflect upon his next steps.
Yes.
Um, and it isn't going to be an easy thing for him to decide and say, okay,
Mm.
because he's worried of how he's going to start coming up, how people will now look at him as somebody who did not listen to advice because he was told before he got involved by those who loved him, okay, that listen, why don't you give this thing some time and observe and learn somebody before you take this very, very big step of marrying. And what did he say? I've met the love of my life. I'm just gonna marry her. And he didn't listen to them. And part of the falling out allegedly with his brother
Yes.
comes from the fact that this brother had advised him to take a step back and first study this woman he wanted to marry. And he was very excited. He was so blind for love. Love can blind people. So whether it was love or lust at the time, he went into it full swing. And once you marry, it's more like no going back. So, so he's now held in there, the two children, and things are not working out the way they should. So he's in a predicament. He can't step out of it. So what can he do now is to try to behave as if he's now living a single life in a way he is now doing. Okay, because there is no other choice he can take other than just probably even coming up with this professional separation thing. That's the closest to the separation that he can get. That's the most he can do in this separating bid of his, because the more they announce it, it's going to be very, very bad news for him. That's their collapse. That's the collapse. They've got into this partnership now. They just have to try and find a way of probably being business partners. Okay,
Yes, because I think the children, whether they do or don't exist, complicates everything. And the fact that they're in California, because the Californian divorce, I don't think the benefit to the wife kicks in until they're married 10 years. I think it's something like that. And Harry would be the total loser if that's the case. So I think, though, the children complicate everything. They just, because there are so many questions around them. And he has made his bed. I mean, he said, "Oh, I have to take this woman, Megan. I have to take her to Africa because this is going to be the test if this is a woman for me." And William pointed out, well, she was the fourth woman you brought there as a test. So he was very naive. He was very foolish. He was led around by his junior partner, he's led around by lust. And it's such a shame, really,
It
because
is a shame.
because if he'd married the right woman,
It's a very
he
shame.
could have grown up.
He could have grown up. He's met very, very adorable, respectful, very intelligent women
Yes,
along the way. But how he just got, I think Megan was very clever and acted very fast and put him in a predicament somehow, and used that time when Harry was still very excited to get to
yes,
places where it would be very late for Harry to step back. Okay, and we know her background in acting and badly going for things, and how she really wanted to get herself a prince, a wealthy man, because these conversations were always there. We heard all about this, how she was telling her friends, I'm looking for a rich man, and she's researching all these wealthy men who are single. She started off with Ashley Cole. This was a footballer who was at the time with Cheryl Cole. They divorced, so she wanted to go for him. Somewhere down the line, he did not answer her phone call, and then boom, somewhere she falls into Prince Harry's path, and Harry, being very young, naive at the time, gets so excited. And Harry himself tells us in his book that he actually had a few drinks before going to meet this woman. So who
that's
knows
right. He did.
whether he
Yes,
was under the influence of that when he made those decisions. And he could now be reflecting upon all of those decisions he made. But it's very late now. We always say these things, Catherine. He made his bed. He's gonna lie in that bed. Very, very, so
well, I
sad.
mean,
He has
that's
to.
first
Hi,
first
Becky.
blush.
Hi, Becky Lee. Thank you so
Hi,
much, Chantel,
Chantel.
for welcoming Becky Lee on board. Thank you so much. We sort of go on, Catherine, and we forget that we have our
I
lovely audience.
know.
Yeah.
We don't
Sending
mean
greetings
to.
to you all.
Yeah,
Thank you so
yeah.
much for the support. Keep that support coming. And thank you guys. We got monetized last time. So it is great news that without you, we wouldn't have achieved all those watch time hours. So thank you so very much. So this issue of Meghan Markle, Prince Harry, are they separated? What's going on? This professional separation, what does it mean? That word could mean anything. professional separation. And because they have they have these machines that are behind the scenes making decisions, they had to look for a word that is going to be befitting of this situation going on in their relationship. And so it had to be professional separation. Because tell me, if these two had set out to work as a unit, they left the royal family. Prince Harry got onto his freedom flight, so they sat together with Meghan Markle. They crafted all these brilliant ideas. And so Netflix gave them a project as the two of them. They have Archwell Foundation going on. It's theirs. They are all in there. Invictus Games, Meghan Markle is in the in the mix of all of that. And out of the blue, professional separation, separating brands. Does that mean we are not going to see this Archwell Foundation partnership going on, Harry and Meghan? Does it mean that this Netflix project of theirs is now also going to be Meghan, produce your episode on your own, Harry, produce your own episode, so you're working individually but in this same sack? How is that going to operate? It is very, very complicated. And I think for me, they are using that time to buy time. Harry is a man right now who could be using this time to reflect on his next steps.
Well,
Okay.
he's the brand. He is the
Yeah,
brand.
yeah,
So
yeah.
if they have this professional separation, it is a separation because he is the brand. If she wasn't married to a prince, she wouldn't have a career. She'd still be struggling in made for television um, dramas like Suits that are, you know, broadcast originally on Saturday afternoon, competing with the sports channels. So she'd still be doing that. Harry is the brand. And I feel what really has contributed to this, I believe the next, like they're coming up in Canada next year. I believe Invictus said, we do not want her here.
Mm.
I believe they've said that we do. I mean, he can do whatever he wants, but he's already lost a lot of Invictus um, members have lost. They've left rather, excuse me, and the reputation of Invictus has gone down, down, down. As a result, they lost the CEO, or the lead player in all of this. He departed about a month or two ago, and they do not want Meghan there. They don't. There was scuttlebutt online about it, and there are a few articles saying that Invictus have requested she not attend. So what do you do when your boss fires you? What do you do?
Exactly.
You
Exactly.
say it was a mutual, particularly if it's a public relationship, it was mutually agreed it was time to move on. And I believe that's what it is. Now, she's got no brand because she's still struggling with her trademark issues. And Radar Online, there was an article the other day that said she's going to sack her lawyer because of all of these trade. I'm going to sack my lawyer because these trademark holdups. It's stupid. What is she going to do? She's going to put her fist down on the desk, like an executive director that she is. But
Yeah.
I believe that's what happens when a very public parting of the ways. They say, oh, it was a mutual. It was time to move on, and I'm going to explore other possibilities and opportunities. She's
Ex-
toast.
Exactly. Exactly. And you know what now? Megan is now reduced to attending these little house
Hair care
parties.
launches.
Yes, yeah, parties, yeah, hair care, launching, cake, birthday cakes, cutting of her friends, and that's what she's reduced for. And it's really sad because as the Duchess of Sussex, she should be really, really, attending very important occasions. She should be a patron of some sort. She should be, an ambassador of big, big charities. she should be working way higher than she is right now. It is very telling of what a path, how difficult the path they took is proving to be. And again, it brings us to this statement we always make: how sad, how really sad. These two individuals who had the potential to become great within the royal
Oh,
household. Okay. And
it's
they are,
staggering.
it's very staggering to see them now working in the way that they are. Okay. Prince Harry now, okay, so a bit of humor is always good. He goes into, tattooing, and he gets that fake tattoo, tries some bit of acting. All of it now looks very tatty because he's the environment and the, within which he's making all of these things is no longer as supportive as it used to be. So whatever he does,
No.
people are looking at it as trying too much. Okay, trying too much. So he's lost the flair he used to have. And people are always gonna say it's very sad, isn't it? Very, very sad. And back
Well,
here, we're seeing his
yeah,
brother flying. His brother is flying with the projects. He's taking salutes. He's everybody,
he looks great. He looks like a
he
load is lifted.
exactly. He goes to countries, to promote his projects, and he's welcomed in state houses. He's greeted by the prime ministers, presidents. His brother is really operating at that high level, and Prince Harry's down in a tattoo parlor doing tattoos, and so it really shows the state of things for Harry. And again, like we said, we can't do anything about it because he chose this very path. He chose it, the trust, for it to
Well,
be.
they're in so deep, aren't they? Really,
Mm,
they are.
mm,
They're the fraud, the dishonesty, the bullying, the treatment of disrespect of the Queen and her dying husband. They've just this is what I can't grasp. It's like the media want the public, particularly people in our camp, they want us to forget all of these dreadful this conduct, this behavior. You can't forget it. It's not because it's unforgivable, because forgiveness is a different thing to holding boundaries. But
mm.
he's in so deep. I don't know if they're going to be able to divorce. I just don't. I think she's got that spider has
They
really
are.
got him there in her web.
Exactly. They are in a situation where they are just going to work out a way they can operate just to sustain the businesses they have. Okay? It is going to be too expensive for Harry to get that divorce done. Very, very expensive. And it will be expensive for Meghan Markle. So we are going to see this sort of operation of, okay, separation. They are separating identities and brands going forward, but they are still a unit as the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. But I can't see them really, really coming out and Harry says divorce now, we are done. Because those kids, the king even doesn't know how they look like and everything. So divorce will mean that those kids are going to be probably in the hands of Meghan Markle, and she can't let them go because that is what she's gonna be holding on as a way of getting her money in, money, send money to look after these kids. So she'll be holding on those, and Harry is a family man, so he knows what family means. He would like to have those kids with him, so he has to just stay in this thing for the sake of making it appear like it's a family, but it's they'll be living in a mansion where everybody is probably going to be doing what they like. Okay. But again, people will say it serves them right because Harry knew what he was getting himself into. He really knew. He wasn't a very young man. He was a grown-up man. He could have listened to what his brother told him. But the other thing is, of course, he burnt all the bridges here. People who would have
Yeah.
supported him, he burnt those bridges. The Catherines is not talking to them. He said all of those things about them. The Queen Camilla, who is who is guarding his father there, don't you dare pick up that
She,
phone.
she literally has become what Princess Diana called her, the Rottweiler.
Don't you
She
dare
literally
pick up.
has become that now. And go you. I
Yeah,
would like you stand guard there, girl. You stand by
exactly.
your man.
Oh God! So we see Anastasia here. Anastasia, welcome, welcome. So Anna says, back in the day, Diana definitely favored the young, good-looking journalist Richard Kay and her confidant. I've often wondered what time we reveal about that relationship. So Anna, welcome,
Mm.
welcome. Yes. So we are very, very happy and glad to have people joining into these conversations. Soto, hi, Joe. Chantel left. I think she's having an early morning.
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So we didn't say bye bye to her there. We got caught up.
She left
And
for
Marian
about
Maria again.
35, 40 minutes.
Yes, yeah. But it's been lovely again catching up on these stories,
Yeah.
Catherine,
It's
hasn't
always
it?
fun, you
Yeah.
know. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I
lovely.
think
As
a bit of giggle and laughter helps. I mean, these are pretty thorny subjects that we're
oh,
talking about people's lives, you know, and a light touch is helpful.
yeah, it does. And we wish them very all the best. It's not like we are just rebuking them all the time, but we would have loved them to start doing things better. Christmas is
Yeah.
here. You would have imagined, okay, Harry, Meghan flying with the kids, they spend time in Balmoral, Sandringham, kids getting to know each other, play those Christmas games,
Mm.
the squabble and all of that stuff. How nice that would have been. Okay. But all of that can't happen now. It really can't because of the situation that is there. Even if the royal family in some way wants to find a way of forgiving and letting go and get these people back in, the country, the nation can't allow that. It cannot. Okay. So
Mm.
it is a situation where we are always going to be saying it is what it is when it comes to Meghan Markle and Prince Harry. Okay, let them be there and let the royal family be here. Okay.
Yeah. Can I just reply? Someone's asked me here, just I think it was Joe, when will I be in the UK? Actually, in for the Tripping of the Colour, and it's definitely proceeding. My children have suggested I not buy any presents, and they, put that money aside, and then they're giving me money as well. Everyone's throwing money at me over here. I said, "Oh, it's early days yet, They said, Mom, we know what you're doing there. Don't worry, as it gets closer, we'll top you up. So
Mm.
I'm very excited. I can't wait to meet Francis and his family. I can't wait to meet his A team. Honestly, we are going to have so much fun, Francis.
Oh yes, yes, we are, and we
Yeah,
will do. I'm planning once you got your dates booked, we will try and get
yeah,
to an afternoon tea somewhere in London. If our
yeah,
dear friends here in the comments are very able to come down to London, we
yeah,
could do an afternoon tea and just do a Francis Page media themed
yeah,
afternoon tea party somewhere. I will book that in advance so we can get to meet
yeah,
each other in person. And I'll make sure to book somewhere that is more accessible, more friendly with, if you intend to come with driving or being dropped off. But I think the transport network in London is better if you use trains, and most of all these places I would be looking at are within touching distance of train
Mm,
stations. So
mm.
we will plan that once Catherine has confirmed the dates. And of course, as we know, the King's birthday parades fall on certain dates within June time. So it
Mm.
would be ideal to first learn of those dates before Catherine
Yeah,
can plan her travels. Once I get
yeah.
those dates, they tend to put them up pretty quickly, Catherine. So you will know when the dates
Oh,
are.
beautiful. Yeah. Thank you
Yes.
for asking. Yeah, I'm
Yes.
I'm
Yes.
so looking forward to it. After the royal visit, um,
Yes.
I just, this is like, oh my gosh, it's like a pilgrimage going back home. I haven't been in the UK since they kicked us out as 10-pound Toms.
Yeah, yeah. So
No, it's
Joe
wonderful. I
asks,
can't wait to meet Francis.
oh, neither can I, neither can I.
Mm,
And
mm,
so is all the friends of ours here. We have the comments. Those
mm.
living in London. Stedman is in London here. No, she's in
No,
Australia.
Stedman's in
Stedman.
Tech. No, she's
Oh,
in Texas.
Texas. Yes, Stedman
She
is
runs a
Texas.
ranch.
Yeah,
She
Stedman,
runs
are
a
you
ranch,
still on?
that girl.
Yeah, yeah.
No,
Becky
she
Lee,
had
where are
to
you
get back to
from?
work.
Is she going back to work? Yes. How about Becky, where are you from? And Joe is here. Joe, I think, is in is it Yorkshire? Joe, are you in Yorkshire? And now Joe asks that this professional separation could be a ploy to get Harry back in the royal family. Then after time passes, they get back
Mm.
together. Should has to be welcomed back as well. Joe, I don't think this professional separation is having anything, I think, to do with the royal family.
Okay.
This should be Meghan and Harry's camp coiling these words to make us to make us believe that they are trying to probably have a bit of rebranding on how they've been leading projects. But this, of course, they had to come up with something to counter the so many questions that were coming up recently with regards to why are they not stepping out together? Why are not doing things together? They had to find a way, and so this is their PR machine coming up with these phrases, I think. And part of it, for me, is because they had realized that their approach wasn't working, stepping out together. There's so many controversies Meghan Markle carried alongside her, and the criticisms, and if, because these two read the line, they read online, they see what is being said about them, they see how people report on Meghan Markle, and how she wants to steal the mic off the MCs, how she wants to be center stage, and how all of these things have often overshadowed their operations. So they must have reflected upon all of these things and decided, right, let us try to change approach now and see if we will reduce on the controversies that have been going. But I also think Prince Harry was starting to lose his mojo. He was starting to lose
Yes.
deals and invitations, because people could have been probably turning around Harry and say, we would like to invite you, but without your wife. And some of these could be people, big donors and funders of his projects. So he had to listen to them and say, okay, listen, I'm now going to be stepping out myself. Okay. So I'm thinking this professional separation is having a lot to do with Meghan and Harry themselves looking deeper into how they have been operating and how difficult it has been for them to secure deals, knowing that it will be Meghan Markle within those circumferences of Harry. you know. So
Yeah, I think it is their problem. I don't think it's not going to bring about his return to the royal family. That's actually
No,
a deeper
John.
question because that comes down to him, his that comes down to him cleaning up his life. I don't. It's and he knows the only way he'll ever be able to return is without her.
Exactly, exactly.
Mm.
But as we go into Christmas now, the royals will be spending their Christmas as always they do. And recently we sort of read around that yes, Meghan and Harry were not invited. We expected that anyway to happen.
Mm. Mm.
So all of these talks of they are trying behind the scenes to get Harry back. This is very telling of how it isn't the case, because if they are trying to get him back, he would have got that invitation at least to come as a Harry, but none of that. Okay, so I'm very very positive in the way the royal family is moving forward without Harry and Meghan. I think they have achieved a lot and they have done well
Mm.
to go this far because everybody thought they would be struggling. And with Prince William and how he has dealt with his brother more maturely, I think he has been a blessing to the royal family. William has, also helped
Mm. Mm.
father make difficult decisions that the king would not have made. Okay, we've had all these balcony appearances, and how William has been very firm with, if Harry's on that balcony, I won't be there. Okay, so we have seen elements of very, very tough decisions being made here by the future king. And as long as William is here, sound as he is, I don't see a Harry or Meghan who are returning back in any way, shape, or form very soon. And we know how they are very scared of him, by the way. Very, very scared
I
of William.
Yeah, I
You,
think
you
so.
saw that.
Both of
Yeah,
them.
yeah, both of them. You saw that. And when Harry is talking about him, you see, my brother did this, my brother did this. Conversations that are coming from a position uh, of what? How should I? Position of being fearful of somebody. Okay,
Yes,
not
yes,
because he's a
yeah,
very bad person, angry, but because of how William takes himself. He's a no-nonsense kind of guy.
yeah. I
Okay.
think that Prince William has, as difficult as the year has been, I did have a thought earlier in the year. I thought, oh, this is going to test his mettle as a future leader. This, when it became, we were brought in on Catherine's illness, and then, the king. And little did we realize just how tough this year was going to be for him. But, there's conversations in the public space about how that we're living in a crisis today of a crisis of masculinity, and what I see in Prince William is with these strong, non-negotiable positions that he has established around the well-being and security of his family, they're very masculine. If he was seen as someone who was always giving in to his brother, how could we respect him? You
Exactly.
can't respect a man who says, "Oh, all right, you walked all over me last time, and last time you were here, you really were shocking. Took photos of my daughter in her bedroom, and you spoke badly of my, but all right, you come back in." No, people wouldn't have respect for that. People respect him. They do. They just respect William. Like this African Parks thing
Yeah.
with Harry, he said nothing publicly, and then he goes to New York and said nothing. And he's on a board of all white men, and he's there as a prince, and he won't step down. It's been recommended he step down. Could you see Prince William handling that African Parks scandal, a scandal like that in a charity of which he was a patron? He would be looking for some form of inquiry. He would want it verified first. then he would act and he would say, no, he's such a sure-footed character, William, you know,
He's
he's
very
really
well trained.
clear.
He's very trained. He was mentored by
Yeah,
no other than the Queen
the
herself,
Queen
Queen
herself.
Elizabeth.
Yeah,
Yes, she knew that the hope for the royal family was really, really deeply embedded in this young man, William. And he's done. He loved his grandmother. I want to take you back to when his grandmother visited William when he was still uh, a rescue pilot. He was learning to be a rescue pilot. And the Queen visited the center he was at, where was this, Norfolk somewhere. And so he called William, and William came. He was wearing his green overalls, and I think he was coming from a workshop. And he said,
I remember it. I remember it.
"You
Yes.
remember when the Queen visited,
Yeah.
and it
Yeah.
was quite windy. The Queen was holding on her heart like this, going in and going out. So William came, and how humbled he was when his grandmother came, and so he was very respectful of her. You could see William couldn't joke around that much with, he knew his grandmother, but he also knew this was the Queen. So how he was acting in front of the Queen was very telling of a person who was under mentorship from the Queen herself on how to behave. How many times do we see Harry whispering in the Queen's ears, just making jokes, doing all of this, and some of which for me looked as though it was a bit too much. But this young man,
Yes.
yeah, and how he was raised. And when the Queen visited and said, I'm very happy with my grandson, I think he's going to be a very, very authoritative, very professional, administrative young man. And I'm very proud of that. And this is what we are seeing him right now today. He's single-handedly been there, carried, fought this really, really challenging time of his brother tearing apart his wife, his father, his stepmother, everybody. And William there was even able to answer that journalist who asked, are you a racist family? He said, we are very much not a racist
Yes.
family, with firmness. For me, that was the defining moment of a young man who was
Yeah.
determined to protect the legacy of his grandmother, like we've seen no other do it. Okay.
Yeah.
So we are very lucky, extremely lucky that he was born first, I think. And how he
Yeah.
handled this. Many people have criticized him sometimes. So he's done this, he's done this, but how he handles himself and still stays together.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
Look, I don't agree with everything he stands for. Um, that's neither here nor there. That's actually, you know, but I feel he gets a lot of unfair criticism. Just, uh, opinions, everyone's got opinions, and we should be open to listening to the other argument and being open to changing your mind. But that's not the point. The point is he's going to be a future king, and I really believe his mettle was tested this year. I believe the universe really had him in the furnace and was just working him over, because it's who wants to be the king, honestly? I just think your life is not your own, and I know that there's a lot of benefits that come with it, but I do have a degree of empathy for all the royals, even Harry to some extent, although he tests that. But William is a real leader in the making. I think he's going to. You caught my attention with something you said, might have been in our last live or maybe the one before it. You said you believe with Catherine and William that we're coming into a golden era with those two. And you caught my attention with that. And I thought, I've been thinking about it. I think you might be right. It'll be
mm,
different. we'll have to
Mm.
adjust, especially the older generation. But I think you're right. I think it's going to be a golden age in their own making, though.
And they've so much tuned in with the young ones and connected with
Yes.
all ages. Now William is able to use TikTok and speak to somebody's TikTok account and open up and show people that we are this sort of family. We are very open, we are very friendly and outgoing. He's mastered all of these things. He is more like his mother, the great, his grandmother, the queen. We used to think we know all about him, all about her, but then she comes up with something we didn't know. Those are elements that make somebody great in a leader. So, and we see this with
Yes.
William. We see, because we don't know this man again as well. He turns up today, and just when we thought he's finished, he turns up and he's sure he goes to an event, whether it's gonna be the unveiling of a movie, and then goes to another event. He takes a different swagger altogether to the other event. When he
Mm.
means to be sporty on the day, he puts on his trainers and competes with his wife. So these are things we are seeing in great leaders. Okay. So I'm very proud of him, very, very proud of Catherine, being alongside him and all the support they are receiving from people like Sophie, Edward. These people are not really, really talked about usually, but they are doing a great job behind the scenes.
I
Very great.
agree. I agree with you very much so.
Mm,
Like I said, you're not going. People don't agree with everything all the time. They don't. But when the foundation of the architecture is right, which it is, I believe in the monarchy. Believe we need to uphold the crown. The architecture is stable, and I believe something Tina Brown did get right before the Queen died, but it was just close to the end. She said that the monarchy and Great Britain in particular was going to enter into a very unstable period, and that it was going to be very difficult for the king. Well, I just feel he's gone from strength to strength. And she actually had to eat her words on that. She said she was surprised with the transition the king has made, but in doing that, he's made the way for William. See?
exactly,
That's the
exactly. So
continuity of the monarchy.
yes, yes, it is. So that's why I'm sitting here, Catherine, and my dear friends on this live, saying that let us rally behind Catherine and William, because
Yes,
these two are the real deal for us. Can you imagine those
yes,
sitting on the throne and how it will be? Okay. And people who would have loved to see Diana sit on that throne will be very excited to see at least Prince William and
yes.
love of his wife sitting on that throne. So we will have all the Diana fans back into the mix. Okay.
Yes. Yeah,
So
they won't be able to help
mm,
themselves. But the king,
yeah.
I feel the cancer, in many ways, the king's cancer has worked in his best interest because it's really crystallized his mortality. It's really crystallized his priorities. And I feel that's been a good thing because it's really brought home that he's the king. He's not some politician or wannabe politician. He's not, but he's a flawed human being. We know that everything is out there. But I believe it's worked to his advantage
Mm,
because he's making the most. Does look really, really well.
mm,
And, but he knows the importance of making wise decisions with a view to the long term. And he has made way for Harry, and not for Harry, for William, excuse me. But also, I think that there's um, a very soft regency, not a full, but there is a little bit of a soft regency taking place. It's not an official, and it's not even noticeable, but
Mm,
they're working in tandem, the King and William. But we're coming into a good time in the monarchy, and I'm looking forward to it. And I'd give anything to still have the Queen with us, you know. But
exactly.
I'm looking forward to these two. The Diana Royalists, they're just going to have to live with it, you know. Those who still feel Camilla was, you know, I know I loved Diana, and I, you know, still do, but Harry has shifted that a little bit, if I'm going to be honest. I see her
Mm,
very differently. And that's sad. It's actually really sad that he's sullied her reputation in many respects. Should have
mm,
left it alone.
should have left it alone than pushing it
Mm,
and throwing it into
mm,
people's faces and making it sound like, oh, my wife is gonna go down my path my mom wanted. My mom went, and I'm just gonna save her life and take her away, and really not painting a good image of the legacy of her mother, because
mm.
he is bringing her back into people's memory in a very, very bad way, and from
Yeah,
a negative angle. And yet, this woman was looked at as a very positive woman, Diana was. So it hasn't helped that legacy to keep it burning. Uh,
mm.
Prince William has, and because when William really steps out and talks about his mother, he really does so from a position of positiveness, and how he's carrying on with the legacy she left. That's what people associate Diana with William more than they do with Harry. So we
Yeah.
have okay, so Sam is called up north, better than London. Ooh, Northerners. I think Sam is up north, Yorkshire
Yeah,
probably.
I'm a Yorkshire girl. Yorkshire
Yes,
born and
Yorkshire.
Yorkshire bred.
Yes, yeah. It used to rain a lot in Yorkshire, so I
Yeah,
suppose it
that's why I
is.
love it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Mariam is from Oklahoma. Mariam, hi. Send greetings to everybody in Oklahoma, United States. Becky is from Canada, and Becky asked us if we know the nation's capital. Is that
Washington.
Washington, Canada?
Oh,
Okay.
Canada. Oh, I
Yeah.
thought, sorry, I was thinking the US.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's Montreal
Oh,
or
so is
Toronto.
that Ontario or
I,
Ottawa?
I'll go. I'm
Ottawa?
keep quiet, Catherine. You're showing
Yeah,
your
is it
ignorance.
Ottawa? Yes. Joe is up in Yorkshire. Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw
But
that,
anyway,
Joe. Yeah.
yeah. So we're gonna bring this live to the end, guys. Tomorrow is a work day,
Ottawa.
and yes, so going back to my usual routine again through the week. It gets very busy, but I've enjoyed catching up with our love.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
the
much
A team.
fun.
Thank you so much for all the support, my dear ones. We truly appreciate your presence. It means a lot to us. And the thoughts in the comments, oh my goodness. We have a
Yeah.
very, very wealthy, knowledgeable audience here. Soto says William and Catherine are positive force. I
Oh, they
agree
are.
very
Yeah.
much. Yes. And Joe says we need to pray for Catherine's good
Yeah.
health. We really
Yeah.
do. She has really, really done well with coping with that treatment, because we know how tough that treatment gets, and how people have failed to pull through. Catherine recently, sent out messages of sympathy to that family. There's
Yeah.
a lady who lost her battle with cancer recently, and Catherine had visited, is it a few weeks, months back? Have
Mm.
you seen her? She passed on, bless her.
Yes.
So
Yeah. It's
you
so
you know,
sad.
very sad. So you can imagine how Catherine feels, of course, knowing
Mm.
people who have the same sort of illness like she's been battling, losing lives. So we are very, very grateful for her health. Let her recover quickly so she gets back into full swing. Um, the Friday, I think next week, is the Christmas Carol service. I know that who talked about it? Was it Sam, or Was it Joe? Who is
Not
it?
sure.
Aspi? I think it was
Yeah.
Aspi Aaron saying
Sam,
next. Yeah.
Joe's gone and Sam's
Mm,
about to go. I'm not sure
yes.
who
So
brought up the carols. It's this end
yeah,
of this week, isn't it?
it's end of this week. Yes. So I'm
Yeah,
hoping
yeah,
I can go down there and try, and if the weather is nice,
yeah.
try and see if I can get a few images and reporting down there. It's usually very late, so I will try my best to see if I can go. But
No
if I don't for
pressure.
some reason, yes, we will. I'm sure we'll find a way of catching up with the stories. But we will end here, Catherine.
Thank you. Was a great live. Thank
It
you,
was a
Soto.
great
It
one.
was a
Yes,
lot of
thank you,
fun. It was,
Joe.
yeah.
Yes,
The
thank
chat
you,
was
Joe.
really
Thank you, Sam.
interesting.
Aspi. Yes, Becky, Marianne. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thanks,
Stedman,
Joe. See you,
Stedman. I
Atsby.
think, yeah, I think Stedman has gone too.
She's gone. Yeah, she had to
Yeah,
get
so
back
is
to work.
Chantel. Yes,
Yeah,
but we've got
she's
our
got some
18 here
panels
again.
she needs to rustle.
Yeah. But yes, thank you so much, everybody. Becky, have a great evening. Hope we can see you again on in the next live. Hopefully
Bye,
around
sweetie
Wednesday,
darling.
Thursdays. Yes. So when should we do a next one, Catherine? Wednesday, Thursday-ish around there?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
yes. Yeah,
And hopefully
yeah.
some big stories come up. But
They
from us
will, I'm
all,
sure.
our dear loved ones, mwah, all of you, we love you so
Bye
much.
bye.
Bye bye, our dear
Thank
friend.
you. And thank you,
Bye.
Francis.